Warning, if you have kids, put your hands over their ears.
Fuck you too. Go back to where you came from. Go back to California. Because you're a fucking baby asshole.
So
fucking get a fucking clue.
I'm not afraid.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
So I'm concerned.
Fuck you. You don't belong here. You come here to cause problems. You're
DC.
fucking
This is
racist
America.
bullshit.
Why do I not belong
It's
here?
racist bullshit. That's why. You guys come and try to take over the Capitol on January 6th, and now you're here because of your racist bullshit.
Do you think maybe you
You're
have
a
a wrong
fucking
idea
idiot.
of what America's about?
No, I think
sound
you have a wrong
anti-American
idea of what
to me.
American is
You
about.
sound anti-American.
Yeah, I'm sure I
And
do.
you seem
Fuck
very angry.
you. Yeah, I am angry. I'm angry at people like you. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. Fuck you all. Fuck you all. We don't want you here in D.C. Keep coming around. Fuck around and find out.
Do you feel like
Fuck
do you
you.
feel like you represent a group of
Fuck
people
you.
who don't believe
Fuck
in America?
You all. Fuck you.
Really angry.
Fuck you.
That is straight up triggering.
Fuck you all. Guess what?
We love you. God bless you. God bless you.
You're a fucking asshole.
God bless America. God bless you.
You guys are idiots.
I wish you have a
You're
great
fucking
God
idiots.
bless.
You don't even know what
God
you're talking
bless.
about. You don't have fucking 4 brain cells.
That's all
to
right,
put
man.
together. Yeah, go fuck
I
yourself.
understand.
Keep telling yourself you're
Yeah,
doing this
I understand. We're doing it for everybody, for the children, for everybody.
Why are you so upset with love? It seems like there's a lot of love
You
here, but
little
you don't like
fucking
love.
babies. You're a bunch of fucking babies. You're racist pieces of shit.
Oh, so much anger, man.
You're about to get run over in traffic, sir. We don't want to see that happen.
Guess
Guess
destroy
what?
your soul.
Guess what? Keep coming back.
Sir,
We will.
there's
We
traffic
will.
coming. We don't want to see you get run
Yeah.
over.
I hope that you get some help and you become happy, because that's what America's about.
We need to go.
Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you!
Maybe don't walk backwards into traffic.
Fuck you too!
Have a nice day, sir.
Too.
I hope your day gets better.
Go fuck yourself!
I like America and I like freedom.
How you don't?
Sorry,
You're
you
fucking babies! You guys are fucking babies! You think we're asking you to fucking storm the beaches of Normandy? We're a fucking man. Get a fucking
Very
shot!
delusional in your thinking.
No, I'm not.
And
You're
you
a
don't-
fucking
you don't
idiot.
understand what
No,
America's
yes,
about.
I do understand what America's about. You don't fucking get to tell people what America's about. You think
That's
you're
right.
the
That's
people?
called freedom.
No,
That's called
no,
freedom.
you're a bunch of fucking
and
fascist,
you have to have
racist
freedom as well.
assholes.
And you have to have
That's
freedom to
not
be out there
freedom.
and say what you
Freedom
say.
without responsibility is fucking childish bullshit. That's
Very
what
good.
you don't
Have a
understand.
great day. I'm gonna
No,
go to my
fuck
class.
you. Fuck you.
Say it louder.
Fuck you too.
From a galaxy near you, this is Brothers in Booze. And here are your hosts, Greg Washington and Doug Ziegler.
Hello.
I think we met our quota for F-bombs. That was good.
Yeah, I gave y'all a warning, I think. Yeah, I agree mostly. How about that?
Hey, that was a very short Michael Rappaport. So that was it.
This is true. He goes off, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I haven't seen him lately. Talking about going off though.
What you got?
We have a fun guest tonight. Can't wait to get to her. But I have a wonderful selection from our friends at Venture Brewing.
Ooh.
It's a ginger peach sour love thing. The ginger is strong like a Seagram's.
Mm.
And the peach is a fucking nice accent to that ginger spiciness. The unfortunate part, Doug, is that it was frozen in the back of my fridge.
Boo.
So I was able, but it is
slushy.
cold. It is colder than it should be, but that coldness is adding to that crisp of that ginger and that pucker of the sour. And this is one of the best beers I've had in a long ass time, actually.
Nice.
With all due respect to the ones that we've had.
Yeah, and that's so it's like a slushy then, because
Kind of, but it's just really, really, really cold and crisp. And I don't know as it warms up if it's going to be that same crispness. It's fantastic.
Huh. Well, we'll see how it warms up.
And it'll be gone shortly here, yeah. Well, I only got half the damn can.
Maybe you come back to that at the end of the show.
Right. What you having?
Well, I'm going to stick with your ginger theme. I picked this up purely for the label. So just forewarning, folks.
Of course.
This is Octopus Queen from Hallard's Brewing, which is basically an alcoholic ginger beer. I love this label. It's, you know how I am. It's just cool looking. Great name for a drink too, Octopus Queen. So this extra spicy ginger beer. So we'll see how that is. 5.5%. I can't read the cans from where exactly it's from because that print on it is tiny. I think they're from Vermont, if I'm not mistaken. So.
Our guest wants to know why we started the stream so aggressive tonight. Well, no worries. The other videos are not aggressive at all. Well, one of them kind of is. That looks like an aggressive pour while we're on aggressive.
Was aggressive pour because I'm wearing an Art Harder motherfucker shirt, so apparently I'm pretty aggressive tonight. So
I didn't get any ice. Actually, it was just cold. What's that all about?
So this is, if you like ginger beer, you'll love this because it tastes just like ginger beer without any booze. It's real good ginger bite, sweet though. Probably not as sweet as what yours is because it didn't have mango in it, but really, really refreshing. So if you like ginger beer, highly recommend Hallard's Brewing Company.
From where?
Vermont is what I remember, but I have to read the label, and the freaking label thing is super small. Yeah, Vergennes, Vermont. I can't read the actual town name, even with my glasses on. So sorry, folks. I'll try to get a better look at it later and let you know where it is.
No worries. So I was going to categorize this as you and our guests' favorite time of the year, but I can't speak for our guests because I think her favorite time of year is not. It's Halloween, but we'll ask her for sure. But I'm pretty sure. But is your favorite part of the year March and March Madness, or where you at?
One of my favorites. I am a big college basketball fan. I love March Madness. I like the upsets. One, obviously, not so much. But I will say that if that was some other team, I'd be like, this is why March Madness is great. Some tiny school from New Jersey upsets a freaking behemoth school. That's Hoosiers level shit, right? So, like, if it wasn't my team, Kentucky, losing to St. Peter's Peacocks, which sounds like a rec league team, if that was somebody else, I would think this is awesome. What a great story. But, you know, it was more just like, I'm a Kentucky fan, and this is one of the few Kentucky teams that I've actually liked because they were kind of hardworking, blue collar. They weren't like just high flying athletes. They were really hardworking kids, and they just picked the wrong time to miss fucking 5 free throws.
They got outworked.
Yeah, that has not happened all year. That's the thing. That's the thing that's frustrating. So, but otherwise, also, my favorite time of the year.
Do you know where St. Peter's is from?
Yes, Jersey City, New Jersey.
Okay,
I had to look it up because I was like, who the fuck are these guys? And I was like,
no, we literally had to look it up too when we were sitting around as a family watching the first part of it and making fun of my kids go by geography. So they're like Kentucky and they're like, all right, where's St. Peter's from? And I have no idea. So we looked it up and we found out that it was Jersey. So they ended up rooting for Kentucky, but it didn't. I call it Kentucky, kind of like a play on, it's like Pennsylvania, but a little bit south, a little bit west. Missouri. I just go for Kentucky. I don't know why. But yeah, no, it's just the similarities with Pennsylvania, because Yeah, they're a lot similar. Anyway, Kentucky has better basketball teams. Yeah, but anyway, without further ado, it's time to bring on our guest, who is our friend, had her on before, Canadian who loves the March Madness. It is the one and only Tiffany Martin.
What up?
Hey, Tiffany.
Fuckers, what up, fuckers? Oh, sorry, I've got notes already. Peacocks, I didn't realize that was the mascot. That's hilarious.
Mhm.
Hallard's ginger, like peach and ginger sounds delicious. I love ginger. I love ginger beer. I remember drinking ginger beer with my dad, like non-alcoholic, obviously. I love ginger beer. So both of your beers sound fantastic to me. Halloween is way too much work and stress now. So March Madness, maybe it is. Maybe this is the year that March Madness is now my favorite time of year. I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
And I also feel like I'm under a baby chicken light here. I don't know what's going on.
Looks good.
That's a 15-2 upset there. March Madness beating Halloween.
Right.
No, not true, but like I'm like it's a lot of work.
Right.
So like depends how you're weighing out what's your favorite, right?
Right. Well, might as well just jump in here. We will get to the traveling pint in a second, but while we were on topic, let's look to Miss Tiffany. How this is your bracket from earlier today.
Yeah, I have two, but I gave you the one that was doing better. The other one wasn't far behind.
Right. But I saw that I don't know if I saw that through Yahoo Sports after yesterday there was only 4 perfect brackets left. So everybody's getting hit with this.
Under 2%, I think it said, right? Which is nuts. Or that would be like I mean that's impossible. Like I think like someone they give away $1 billion if you get a perfect bracket. That's like really, really hard to do.
Right.
Where I'm at now.
But it looks like you still have your national championship. You have final 3 still intact.
Yeah, Kentucky I had going to the final 4. On my other bracket, I have St. Mary's beating them, so maybe I'll be okay on that one. But this was anyway.
Yeah.
And see, I got a mullet, but I haven't washed it since St. Patty's Day, and there was a lot going on yesterday, so it's a little rough today. But yeah, I have a mullet, so thank you for whoever's.
Yeah, I like it too.
I got a mullet cut a couple months ago because why not?
Right. And we're hair challenged here in different ways, so so we love a full head of hair, don't we?
Yeah.
Doug, I wasn't able to get your bracket online. Do you have it?
Yeah, let me share it. Hold on.
That's cool. But yeah, Tiff. So we got Gonzaga and Kansas. That sounds solid there.
Yeah, kind of just is the way that ends. I don't always like picking those. Like I say, the number 1s and 2s. It's fun to have something else in there, but my upsets were other places there that either are going to happen or not. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Come on, why are you not touching? Sorry, it's not attaching. That was Darren Carter.
Oh, Darren, we miss you too. I smell corned beef and sass.
That's Dan.
Oh, is it Dan? I'm like, it just says Facebook user, but I'm like, I totally know who this is.
Right. Oh, he was here
last cabbage.
We hung out with him last week, and that was fun.
Yeah. I caught up on that. Not live, but I watched it after. Good friend.
And, you know how it is hanging out with Dan. He's a ball. He's so much fun. And makes me laugh the whole time I'm with him mostly. So like I just love his sense of humor is what really drives when I'm around. So I good times.
Go ahead and put the bracket up if you got it.
I don't, but give Tiffany a little follow up here and I'll work on it.
Well, can you talk a little bit about your boy Dan coming up to see you?
Yeah, I think we were supposed to talk a few times and we keep forgetting. So I think we've got a real team meeting of the minds coming up on Sunday. I think we're going to revisit that. And I will tell him already that I forgot that I have something very important on the 24th and 25th. So we'll have to work around that, but maybe I'll come pick him up in Pittsburgh. I think we can still work around that depending how important the Homebrewers Conference is to him. So I'll break that to him now, but we'll figure something out and we'll go and get him. So yeah, I'm stoked on exploring probably Pittsburgh, good old Buffalo, and seat adults so we can work in on that side, but then showing them around Ontario. So I'm kind of Southwest Ontario. I'm just about an hour and a bit over the border of Buffalo border, rather. And travel, I think as of April 1st, we can finally get back and forth without having to do expensive tests. So it's just been a long time waiting for this border stuff to clear up with everything. So hopefully that stays good and easy. And regardless, whatever, we'll make it work, and we'll trek him around here a little bit. So there's always lots to do in Toronto. That's always a big city, but there's lots to do. Toronto's not the end all be all. So take that, Toronto. No, there's great breweries there, but it's a nice little hub to do a lot. So maybe a couple days there, and then showing some of the like kind of farm breweries and countryside breweries a little bit closer to where we live in Paris, Ontario. So it'll be good.
I love farm breweries.
There's a lot of like in our little Norfolk County near us. There's just a lot that are on these gorgeous lands. So it's really fun to see.
You're gonna have to increase the size of that a lot.
Or something.
Yeah, you can click if you're on the print thing. You can. Oh yeah, I was gonna say you can click full page and
there we go.
So I had Kentucky going into the Final Four as well. But I got my other three, but I think Tiffany and I differ. I have Arizona over Villanova. Yeah,
that's fair. Yeah, I got Villanova on both of them going to the Final Four too. So hoping that carries through. I'm hoping Michigan State. I've got them pulling in a little bit too. So I don't know. I'm just not a Duke fan. I'm not a Duke fan, so I'm hoping there'll be a bit of an upset there, but who knows? Or I guess not even, because Duke's. Oh Duke's. Oh no, that's a 2. I just can't read.
I have them going up against Texas Tech because I like how Texas Tech plays, and they play a style like you and I were discussing in the pregame about St. Mary's. Like they're a team that they play defense like crazy. Everything slows down. They play super hard. And that's the kind of team that, while they don't have the size that Duke has, because Duke has a lot of size, that they can get Duke fits. But I think Duke will probably win just because they have a shit ton of talent this year.
Yeah. I think I got Texas Tech just losing to Zag in both of them as well. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. I'm rooting for Gonzaga now simply because they've never won before, and I'd like to see them win. Which
I couldn't remember because I feel like because it was canceled last year, right? And then I couldn't remember how far we were going back, but I was thinking they had won. But you're right, they hadn't. We researched that yesterday. I was like, oh yeah, they haven't actually won. So I'm happy to have them pull that off. Oh, yeah, but I wrote Kansas. Never mind. Screw you, Gonzaga. Just kidding.
Yeah. So, Tiffany, tell us so you're a big hoops fan. How did that evolve just by watching them? Obviously you're Canadian. So how did that evolve? And like, do y'all have something like the equivalent of that up in Canada? Do your basketball teams play each other? The national tournament? Do they get together? I mean, is there anything? I know March Madness is one of a kind, but yeah, what do y'all got up there?
I actually don't know. I never went to university. So maybe that's why I don't. Clearly, I mean, there's got to be a tournament of some sorts, I would guess, but I don't have the answer to that.
Y'all care about hockey and curling more. We already know.
Yeah, pretty much, right? Pretty much, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it wouldn't be definitely as big of a thing or as many schools, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I just grew up playing basketball. I was a really good ball player when I was younger. Everywhere from grade school through high school through rep. Yeah, I was really good back in the day. Now I can't get the ball to the hoop from the free throw line. It is not like getting on a bicycle. Maybe that's like a new goal to start playing a little bit more because I do miss it. It was just a great sport. I think it saved me from a lot of things too, being involved in sports. Learning to be on a team. I just love basketball. And my parents we always had March Madness on the television. Dad always pulled it out from the paper and filled out his bracket with a pen, which I also did here at first because I just feel like there's something classic about writing all the things down too. And Dad was often, I'm trying to think, I think he was often Michigan. I'm trying to remember. Mom was always North Carolina. I have no idea why. It's either the colors or the coach. And those are the classic days, right? Like I was Michigan back then too. That was like, we've talked about this probably every year, but the Fab Five and kind of the legendary era of that as well. So it was a good good time to be watching. And then I just always enjoy watching it. I watch less and less NBA now. I feel like I'm not as keen. Like it's fun. I do enjoy watching the Raptors, and Bernie used to do pyro for them too. So it was really fun to go to the games and kind of be able to be down the court and in the back, and Bernie setting up all the pyro and on the baskets and stuff. It was really neat to experience that. But yeah, I definitely don't watch as much NBA. I will when it gets again to championship time, right? But I think that's everything. Even hockey this year, I feel like I've lost a little bit of watching hockey too. But again,
yeah, and Doug has a similar background to you, growing up playing basketball, right, Doug?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I played basketball since I was 4 years old, and
Nice.
I was fortunate enough to play at a Division III school for a bit, and
that's cool.
And I mean, I love basketball.
When was the last time Tiffany's talking about maybe grabbing the ball and hooping it up a little? What was literally the last time you had a basketball in your hand shooting at a hoop?
Probably doing that beer challenge with the beer on the basketball.
I didn't do that because I was afraid that thing would shoot and smack me in the head or something. I knew I would not have any luck with that.
Cheers to Scruggs.
Yeah, for sure.
I think the key is to let it fall. Don't push it. I think that's the key, but I've yet to try it. Anyways,
yeah.
We'll try it tomorrow.
So I have a hoop in my driveway, and I will shoot when I can. And probably the last time I did was when it was clear enough, and that was before. It was before the last snow. We had it clear out, and I was able to shoot a little bit. And this warm up this week kind of got screwed up because I was doing a bunch of projects around the house, so I didn't really get to shoot. But I'll probably do some tomorrow.
I feel like I can't even get my elbow under anymore. Like I can't even imagine. Like no wonder some of them have the ugliest shot out there.
I think it comes back, doesn't it? It comes back, doesn't it, Doug? After a while, like the stroke comes back, and I feel that.
Absolutely. There's also like I think there's a good like 15 or 20 players in the NBA are from Canada, like Andrew Wiggins and my brain is blanking on them, but there's like quite a few and like that come through, and just like I know Kentucky's had a few players that actually were from Canada, and there's quite a few. Steve Nash is Canadian.
Yeah. That's true.
So I mean,
Toronto won 2 years ago. Toronto won 2 years ago now.
Yeah, with the Space Cadet Kawhi Leonard. Yeah.
We all know Drake's a big basketball hoop fan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know if Tiffany's going to claim Drake or not. We don't want him. But
or actually, I'll take him the Degrassi days, like when he was on TV.
Sure. Man, he's talented and famous, and everybody loves him. It's just not my thing, and I think we all agree to that, actually. But I do have respect for him in the manner of that in that way.
Yeah.
Jeff has a question. How does Coach K affect Duke? Y'all think more motivation or too much pressure?
What do you think, Tiffany?
Oh, I honestly, I've admitted this before. I don't know enough. I don't know enough about that change to know. Because I'm just kind of. I don't watch.
He's retiring, Tiffany. So do you think that that adds more motivation
so he is the coach that's
to the
been
kids?
There.
Forever.
Okay.
He's
40 years.
I think he's the best coach probably ever to coach college.
Is that the same? Why do I not know? Oh, because you're saying Coach K. I'm like, I feel like I should recognize his name. If that's
Krzyzewski, yeah.
Okay.
So is that more motivation? If you were on the team, would that be more motivation or too much pressure on you?
Whew. Oh, you can't see it as pressure. And he wouldn't want you to see it as pressure. I think it's motivation, right? You wanting to win it. That just gives you another reason in the pile. So I don't think. I get the pressure side of it, but I don't think that would be how he would coach to say that either. It would be like, this is not about me. This is about you guys, right? I think.
Facts. I agree. What are you saying, Doug?
I'm going to say that it is motivation, but I think because the last game at Cameron Indoor Stadium, they lost to UNC. I think that's their motivation. I think they got furious that they lost to an inferior UNC team at home in Coach K's last game. Right. And like they were even saying in the NCAA in the ACC tournament, like they asked the one player, "Who do you want to play?" And they were all like UNC, and they ended up not playing. They ended up playing Virginia Tech because Virginia Tech played great, but like they wanted UNC. So
and that's like such a beautiful part. I think just about college ball too. It's just They're there to win. Like, I guess you always are. It's kind of a weird conversation, but I just think there's a different motivation. There's not money involved, but
Yeah, not
it's
money
just, they're
involved.
there to, they're like, right, you're in school. It's not like you can play for that team for 10, 20 years. Well, I don't know how that works either. Maybe you can just fail your way through, but like, I'm sure there's expectations on that end too. So you only have your like 4 years with them, right? Unless universities change and it's 5 or 6 or a master's. Who knows? I don't know how that works, but
yeah, sometimes it's 2 or 3 sometimes, right?
Yeah, well, there's some players who will play as a graduate student, depending on whether they redshirted their
my pajamas. I forgot my pajamas on the bottom. My legs.
Who cares? We're all here hanging out, right? Who gives a shit? I'm wearing sweatpants. Although that's a great set of jammies with the Jason.
Right. And I'm wearing a Chub Hub shirt. So.
Oh my gosh. No.
So
hey,
anyway.
Way, can we go just one thing? This shirt is a Chuck Wendig shirt.
Hard harder, motherfucker.
Like, former guest that he put out a clothing thing. Yeah.
So real quick, what Coach K is not dirty, is he? He wasn't offering gifts.
Oh, I'm sure they all are.
Or was he, Doug?
He kind of was in. It was insinuated that he was involved in something, and then that was the year that he conveniently had back surgery and missed the entire year.
And
then
then
that all kind of went away. So
the investigation went away. Okay. So,
yeah, but he's never been directly implicated in anything. But I think when you're at a program at that level, there's shit that goes on. Yeah.
There's some stuff, yeah. That's why I sort of quote money, but yeah, gifts or I don't know. I'm sure there's.
No, right. I got you. Yeah, the Drake curse is strong. It is. So, Tiffany, let's talk about how you got here. And how you got here, long story short, is us being friends, of course. But us being friends is because we met at a place. And the place was the Beer Blogger Conference. And so how have you been? We talked to you early in the pandemic, I believe. And you were still kind of active, I thought, no, it may have been before. I don't know. Or Doug, we started. I don't know. I forget. I'm pretty sure we talked before the pandemic because I remember talking to you. You come around every March. So you've been here, I think, 3. This is your 3rd time now?
I think so, because I did 1 October, I think, and then 2 Marches, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. So what's going on? Are you getting back out? Is the blog, how you doing with the blog? Are you jumping back out? Are you not doing it? Where you at?
Yeah, so it's an interesting story. It's weird because I actually kind of sat on this the other day and revisited my thoughts on it. And I'm like, the pandemic really did throw a wrench in everything I was doing, and it sucks. And I always thought, maybe it didn't, and it was my choice. I could have written throughout everything. Obviously, it was just more of a travel aspect that was shut out for me. But my motivation was gone for writing because I'd like to travel and write. And I just couldn't force the words because I'm not necessarily a natural writer. I could still post pictures on Instagram here and there, which I would do. But I think my blog did take a big hit. I had a lot of momentum just before COVID. And I had like my first paid trip from here out to San Francisco to do coverage. And there's just some like bigger opportunities coming down the pipe. And I just feel like that really got just cut off. And it has to be rebuilt. But saying that, we're still like, this is the 3rd March now, which is insane. So 2 years, I suppose, but 3 Marches when you think about it. And, I think the opportunity is still there and the momentum just has to be built again. And in the more consistently I post and do stuff, opportunities do come up, whether they're from here or other places too. So the stuff's still there. It's just like anything, what you put into it is what you get out of it. And that's kind of, I want to say the unfortunate thing about blog, but like you guys, in your dad blogs too, like you have sort of an understanding, the more you do and the more consistent you are at it. And it's hard for all of us. We all get our motivation from different ways. So traveling clients definitely still a thing. There's times where I start to go, why am I doing this? Because there's a lot in the industry right now that I don't enjoy. Sometimes there's people in the industry I don't enjoy. And and then I have to go, why do I get caught up in that? I have to remember why I started, right? And my passion was to travel, show people new places, and learn about beer, essentially, because I knew very little when I started this blog, and I would just talk nonsense on a nonsense, not like a know-it-all way, and just start talking about beer. So I feel like I've lost a lot of vocabulary by not practicing it too. And there's just a lot to start again, but I do still enjoy what I like to do. I want to have more writing on the blog and less Instagram, because I think that takes a section too. And I've been so focused on building that, but everyone's got an Instagram now with a beer thing too, which is fine. But I'm like, the blog can always be just that nice real estate. So trying to focus on that and getting more content on there again has sort of been the way. And then I have a monthly column like in our local paper now that's online, and a few other fun things that I can write for. And now with events coming, I'm hoping to start Iron Beer Maidens again more locally to where I live. So just hoping things come back that way too. So I guess to put a long answer sort of short, I'm still here. I'm still doing it.
Yeah. And what do Doug? I'll give you the follow up after this, but it just comes naturally. So what's Canada look like now? Pretty much all restrictions and mask mandates are pretty much up here, and there's really no restrictions. The only restrictions that we have, I believe, are on a per like business basis, meaning, some businesses still got the plexiglass up, some businesses are still saying masks, but otherwise, from a government standpoint, I don't know if any restrictions left anywhere at this point. So is that what Canada looks like, or where y'all at in that aspect?
No. Recently, so this past Monday, I think, give or take a day, we just went back to no, not population, no cap on customers. What's that called? Like capacity. So we're back to max capacity at restaurants. This is Ontario specific, where I am, as of Monday, like last Monday. Like we have, like that's insane. We were 50% capacity for the past 2 years, if even open. Like we were in a lockdown again not long ago. This coming Monday, I believe they're lifting masks, except for long-term care, hospitals, doctors' offices, which is fine. And I think now anyone can go in a restaurant. That would have been just this past Monday. You don't have to be vaccinated, but up until this past Monday, you could only get into a restaurant if you were vaccinated, or a concert or a sporting event. But that's changed as of this last Monday. And I think it might be just up to the business whether you have to have a vaccine to go in. So that could be individually seen. So you had to have 3 vaccines to get into places.
Damn. Doug, do you have a follow up on any of that?
That's what it is, like whatever.
Yeah, it's literally the land of the free down here.
yeah.
Not in a good way, in my opinion, but that's on the side.
And I had COVID last week or 2 weeks ago. I have 3 shots. It's a different strand. Yeah. I wasn't that sick, but I still felt like garbage. I still am tired and feel like garbage, but.
So it was more like a. Oh, so your symptoms were more like sleepiness and tiredness and
like, I had a bit of a weird
lag. Yeah, kind of like a hangover kind of.
I had like it almost felt like a really bad sinus infection. So it was actually pretty awful. But I could tell I was like, it was like over fairly quickly, and then I've just been tired for a couple weeks. Gotcha. Probably I've also been smoking a lot of weed because that was the one thing that would fix my sinus headache. So I just smoked a lot of weed for 2 weeks. That's probably why I'm still tired. Smoked a lot of weed. It's also completely legal here. It's another good thing in Ontario.
Yeah, I never knew you were a weed smoker. I don't remember that actually.
Yeah. Well, I could never do it over there.
This is true. There's
some places you can now. So
right. Doug, you got to follow up since I've been dominating the conversation here.
Yeah.
I'm not going to comment on all the mandates and all that shit because I think everybody knows where I stand and all that. But
we know.
I wanted to make a point about last night in your Twitter space that you have with ABC and Carla Louder, the beer babe.
Yes,
that was fun. She had a similar thing to you, Tiffany, where when the pandemic started, she was like, "Well, I can't really review stuff like because I can't go anywhere." So she kind of stop doing that stuff because there really wasn't an avenue for her to go.
Right.
So I think she was in the same boat as you, just like
I could go grab a can and talk about a beer till the cows come home, but that's just not what I necessarily do.
Yeah, that's not.
And I didn't drink that much more in the pandemic because I'm such a social drinker. So I still have beer, but I wasn't like, I don't know.
Right? All of that. Oh my goodness, I can't agree more. I drank so much less during the pandemic than I did normally. These are facts. I know it was the
I did not.
We don't drink.
I drank a lot more, and that was because I was home all the time. And
right.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But until obviously in November that shit changed, so I drink much more sparingly now. So, but that's
right.
Good.
Right. And I have while we're here, Tiffany, I we're beer bloggers, but I really have an inferiority complex when it comes to reviewing beers, actually. And the reason is because there's so many people that do it good. And one of my favorite ones is RC, our friend RC, Beer Adventures, Doug. The way that man talks about beer, I'm just telling you, it's superior. So every time I hear him, I'm like, I can't do this that good. So why even do it? Because I just feel that I'll just be like any other person. Now, I have my opinions on beer, but will I ever get in front of a camera and give a review? Probably never. And again, it's part of that inferiority complex, but it's part of that, man, I'd just rather send RC my beers and have him review them for me. And then so I can just listen to him talk.
Yeah, it sort of depends. Really? I think it's a lot of the personality. Like there's some people that I'm like, they can go into detail and they know so much about beer, but I'm like, I don't care. Not that I don't care what they have to say, but I'm like, okay, I get it. It tastes like this and that. Like, I'm gonna drink it. I'm probably going to, if I find it, like it's almost it doesn't matter, but it's not a lost art because it is important. But I think even when I started, I'd be like, oh, this tastes like an apple, or not an apple because that's a bad thing. And like I just didn't care because that's how I was learning. So I think it is fun for people who maybe don't understand beer, and it's less intimidating for them to have people not like yourself because you do know about beer, but to have that more casual conversation about it. Not everyone needs to know the aroma, the flavor, the whatever. Like, but equally as a beer nerd, I love to be like, oh, like those are the details too, right? I prefer a real dry finish on the only thing I like dry things I like are beer, like, right? Like I don't like sweet beers as much. Malty, well, that's a whole other category, but so yeah, I think it's important that everyone shines their light. And if you enjoy it, because maybe you'll start talking too and then be like, oh, I just don't even care to do this, right? Like it's not
right.
Almost the point too,
but I prefer the lane that you're in, and clearly I'm in that lane too, which is traveling. And I prefer I prefer to see you travel somewhere and then tell us about the cool things that you saw and like the food that you ate on top of the beer. You always cover the beer, but there's also that element of, what did you eat there? And I remember when Doug and I went
activities, right? You need to do something else.
Activities. When Doug and I had our only road trip together right before the pandemic, we stopped at a bunch of places and we had food at some places, and then we had beer at other places, and some places were just beer places, and some places were like the beer was good, but the food was really good. And then we would just comment on that, and it's just real. I miss the traveling aspect of my friends like you who, obviously the traveling pipe. Traveling is a big part of what you do. So to see you come out of the pandemic, I'm excited that you're still, I'm excited that you're still excited to do it. I just can't wait to see you get back. And we're still not 100% back clearly yet.
Yeah, there was a nice window in August. Like we were suddenly like free in August again. And I went out to Windsor because the tourism organization down there is always very kind, and they set up a wicked itinerary for me. But that's also why I need other things to do, because I have like, it's a 3-day itinerary and I probably hit 16 breweries. Like you can't like I feel like I used to be able to do it, but it was a lot more messy, where now I actually care a little bit more about my job. Like I've always cared about my job, but like that's a lot. So I love that they will choose to mix in a couple of activities for me, or a hike in the morning, like somewhere nice for breakfast. So you are mixing that, because it's like, and then even Bernie and I we would maybe share a flight now, because I was like, I cannot do what I used to do on that kind of itinerary, but you got to jam it in too, right? So but that's always such a great trip down there too. So
what's up, Doug?
Reminiscing and just It'll be good to get out, spend the summer, probably like with their trailer too that we bought last year, or little mini trailer.
Yeah.
It'll be
Yeah.
fun. It'll be fun.
You,
And then
you
hopefully
haven't
next year
used
we
that
can
that
get back to
much.
States.
Yeah, you haven't used it as much as I think you were thinking you were, especially.
We
You know
got
what
out
I mean?
30 days last summer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we had that lull last year in the summer that it appeared that we were almost out of this, and then the fall came roaring back, and everything came roaring back, and everything. It happened the same here, and
Yeah.
I almost feel the same way about where we're at now. There's less than 50 cases of COVID in Wisconsin yesterday, Doug. And
Everyone just needs to get it. Everyone's going to get it. Then we'll just move on.
Right. It almost feels like, right. It almost feels like, we're out of it. And then if you see what's going on in other places, like Europe and stuff, it doesn't look good because those people are going to fly here, and then we're loosening up things and people think it's over. And that's when COVID comes back to smack you in the face, Doug. And what I don't want to be smacked in the face is, and I've had 3 shots too, Tiff, so I still don't want it. And I mean, I know you didn't want it. Nobody wants it. But I mean, even when you have 3 shots, you're like, hey, cool, I won't get it too bad. And anyway, this is smacking me in the face, though, Doug. There's another venture brewing. It's a barrel fermented mixed culture saison.
Ooh, I like that. I like that.
So you like saisons?
I feel like they're equally my least favorite as my favorite. Like, I think I love them. I don't know. It's a weird thing, but I love when they start to do mixed fermentation more so, and that barrel stuff. I think you get that real funk in there, which is also kind of saison-y, if you will.
Yes.
I love them in a flight. I love a smaller glass. I will always order one and try it because I just find them so interesting. But I don't drink a ton of them.
And the taste is a vast range.
Yeah, I like it. We have a very good little beast who I'll talk about shortly because you haven't asked what I'm drinking yet, but I'll talk about that. She's a very, very, very excellent.
What are we doing?
Doug,
what are we doing?
Great beer, and I'm just plugging in my computer.
No worries. Right.
That makes excellent saison. So she's really good.
Tiffany said she doesn't give a shit about what your beer tastes like.
No, that's not what I said. I was all about the ginger.
It's Zach. He does this to us.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
Like, some people I like, others it's like anything, right? It's my choice. I'm like, this person's drier than a fart trying to explain what they're drinking. You're not one of those people. That's fine.
Right.
Like, give me something new to it, We can all read the back of the can, or you can tell who's doing it too, or who's researched it and is just writing regurgitating what everyone else is. But
right, there's a lot of bad people who review. Right, there's a lot of bad people who review beers. Absolutely. I will consult my doctor from drinking more than 4 hours.
Oh, that was in response to my comment before that.
Yeah, because they have pills for that.
Daniel.
When he said he didn't have it, he said he didn't have the endurance, and I'm with you on that. Like, I can't just go and I'm gonna go to the brewery and pound four beers and go to no way. I can't do that. I can't.
What are we gonna do when we all go to New York City, y'all? We're going, and Tiffany, we're gonna invite you too.
We're gonna be pacing. We're gonna be pacing, and it's gonna be flights.
We're talking Pilsners, people. Pilsners.
Okay.
Talking hot lagers and Pilsners.
Okay. Well, Tiffany, since we were so rude, both of us, and just started drinking and didn't even ask you what was in your glass. I mean,
I thought we didn't.
What is going on? Tiffany, what is in the glass?
It's just a basic pale ale. It's delicious. But we've had this, like you guys know that Magnet started this. So it's continued into Canada because we do have a lot of issues going on here too. It's not as much talked about. Not very many breweries came forward to do this, which is sort of a shame, but they extended the date. This is from Farm League Brewing, which is not far from me, just in Cambridge, Ontario. It's pale ale. It's delicious.
And you love beer.
It's a pale. I feel like this is a classic pale ale. Like, you want me to tell you, it's sort of citrusy, some light bitterness. Actually, I thought this has a little bit of funk to it, but I don't know if they would have put something else in there.
You can describe beers great when you want to.
Yeah, I can. And sometimes I just get lazy about it. Like, I don't know. There's nothing that you really need to know about this just to say pale ale.
It's a pale ale.
You get it. You get it. There's nothing added. There's nothing taken away. It's a great beer. It's not poorly done. So Aaron Broadfoot, she's the one who owns Little Beast out of Ontario. And so she brought to the forefront everything that Rat Magnet was doing and also started the movement or momentum here for that. So it was a tough few weeks, as it should be, when stories were coming out and just hearing what everyone had to say and giving people a platform to say that and believing it. And then her having to deal with all the lashing out, people being mad, yada yada. She started a new charity that will be like safe environments in brewery and like giving resources to people who have faced assault and all that stuff that needs counseling and help through that. So it's been a wonderful thing that she's taken on. I don't know how she could take it on because it's something that I just emotionally would not be able to handle or would not do well with. So I do love when there are people that can carry that weight. I don't think that's a fair thing to say either.
To talk
take some weight off them, but
yeah, and talk publicly about it is what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's been nice. It's been nice to see it around. I think it is still growing. They're providing space, and it's great to see people called out. And some of this has been called out before, and people still spend their dollars at these breweries. And I have for years now. And people say, "Oh, well, you never post that beer," and I'm like, "No, because they're assholes." Like, you know, and not everyone knows this. This is the part of why we have to share things, because the average public probably doesn't know half these stories because they just go to the brewery and drink beer. It's not their fault either. But the more awareness we can bring, and the more that, like, you know, I try to research everything that I drink, but I would like to say that, especially more recently, everything I've posted are coming from breweries that have, you know, their conduct statements out and are doing good things. I won't give my hard-earned money to half these jerks that are out there. So not to get into it, because I think we just all know how important it is, but I think we just need to keep raising voices and helping people through this and just creating a nicer area, as we do in many industries. It's not just beer, right?
Right. Well, while we're here, we're going to stay here a little bit. And I just want to make a comment on, you know, you talk about how it's important that people talk publicly about this. It's triply important, in my opinion, for women. And the reason is because we have these situations where women tell their stories and people just blow this off. And we have the story of I'm a big Cleveland Browns fan, and I don't know if you saw the news today, Tiffany. They just gave $250 million some guy who is allegedly pushing himself onto 22 plus, because I'm sure there's more that didn't speak publicly or didn't come out for the reasons that a grand jury did not indict him, and now he's in civil court. But this guy gets, quote, rewarded with a whole lot of guaranteed money because he is a good football player.
Isn't that 70% of the NFL?
Yes, but also it feels like it's almost 90% of our society where women who come out and talk or don't want to, you know, come out and talk just get blown off, basically.
Yeah. I think this is changing slowly, and you're right. It's
changing slowly, but that's the importance of somebody who speaks out. But it's also makes it very understanding for people. I'm not gonna say like you, or people don't want to come out, or ladies don't want to come out, and they don't feel that they're safe enough to come out, or they'll be ridiculed, or they'll be slammed, or they'll be called liars, and it's just all bullshit. So that's why it's really important when people want to push these issues in people's faces, whether it be on a beer label, a beer brand. It's, to me, all welcomed, and it's just all welcome. I listen and I feel for every woman that has an accusation, and we just blow it off as a society, and it fucking sucks.
Yeah.
But also, I'm
sorry. Go ahead.
No worries. You go. No, we're here.
I think sometimes people have a fear too of, well, not being believed. And I do think there are some bad apples. I think there are some people that will spread a rumor or maybe elaborate on things because they want to throw certain people under the bus. But I think you can tell either who's saying that and what the story is, that you should, there's something there that you can tell, right? So I think there's the odd one where you're like, well, no, and now you're just trying to get those people in trouble, but you're lying about something that is not fair to lie about, because you're not doing a disservice to everyone that's trying to get their story out there. So I think people need to really
it's a nuance.
I think you can tell the differences. And I just people want to be safe. And even if you're anonymously speaking out, you're speaking out, and there's awareness of that certain space where people should be careful around or not to. So your voice matters, even if it's anonymously. And Aaron is providing a safe space. You can be anonymous. You don't have to say, I want my name behind this. So there's always a safe option to that.
And I will share too that Doug and I pretty much, our friendship pretty much shows this too, because Doug is very open and honest about his struggles with his heart. He talks about it on social media. He lets people know how he's feeling, and that can add comfort, and that can also add perspective to other people who are going through the same thing. So hats off to Doug. I am vastly more private about my struggles, and seriously, half the people that know me don't know that I had a heart attack last year and the things that I go through. It's just the way Doug and I handle it differently. And I, everybody has their own angle, and I'm not, I think Doug is great for it because, again, it adds perspective, and I'm glad that he's able to talk about it in that manner. But I'm not able to talk about that in that
No,
manner.
but that's why people like Doug are there,
so
right?
There's a contrast. I'm talking
myself.
even right, and even on a level that heart attacks are serious, clearly, but they're not. I don't know if they're in the same level as rape and sexual assault and all that. It's just a different kind of sharing, but it doesn't make it any less personal. That's Doug's struggle, and that's what he's going through, and that's personal when people want to put it out there so other people can learn and relate and do that. So, Doug, I will let you have the floor to respond to what me and Tiffany said. And I think you have another beer, so we'll go there too. But I wanted to make sure that people knew that, like, I feel that aspect of, whether you go social or partially social, because I'm sure you're not going 100% social, Doug. There's things that, that you even keep back. And I say even, but you're vastly more of a social guy in this aspect than I am.
I'll tell everyone what's going on. Bernie had a vasectomy a week too early. March Madness was this week, and he had one last week. I don't know. I'm diabetic. I'll tell you anything. I tell people too many things. But that's just me. I've always been. That's just
right. You've always been a let most hang. How about that? Yeah. You definitely give off a vibe of like, look, ask me, I'll tell you. Me and you had a very, very interesting conversation at a brewery, but I'm gonna let Doug talk about like how you were thinking about having kids, and you're just an open person, Tiff, and I love that about you. I'm open to my friends, but I still kind of get crazy on this live stream where I don't know who's watching me, like people like Zach and shit, Doug. So anyway,
I'm just hoping Zach will follow me. That's why.
That's fair. Zach the rough one.
Right. Anyway, Doug, respond to all that, of course, and do it in 2 seconds.
And go. Yeah, no.
You have the floor.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to say first,
the
like,
controls.
I can't find any of the Brave Noise stuff where I am, and much like the whole Black is Beautiful beer stuff, I couldn't find any local brewery that would do that here either. That's really frustrating, and I'm with you, Tiffany. It's frustrating to not see more people kind of bring that up, and and like you, I watch for stuff, and if I see things where, there was a thing with Brewdog recently where one of the owners was like. Loosely kind of accused of all this, and I was like, well, fuck that, I'm not getting anything from them, and that's the choice I make. I make my declaration through what I spend on.
I feel like I'm so mad I didn't go to their hotel years ago before any of this comes out, which I know I don't want that to sound like an asshole remark either, but now I'm just like, I can't go there, which is fine. No. I don't want to support them, but I'm like, oh man, that hotel looks so cool, and I'm like, no, I have to drive. If you don't stand for something, you fall for everything. So anyways, continue on.
Yeah, but that's just like, if I see something like that or racist shit, you're out. Like Founders, I'm not buying any of their shit. Like that's a line I make.
Yeah.
And I think everybody has to make their determinations on that. So
the dry hop with the crane still wasn't cool enough for me to visit after that shit.
Yeah. And I just want to make sure that I'm spending my money on companies that are doing shit right. And we can't know all of it because some stuff's still happening in the background. Because like you said, some people are afraid to come forward, whether it be about sexism, harassment, rape, racism. There's a lot of shit to that, to be able to come forward and just say this happened, because you're going to get an onslaught of people saying, you're full of shit. And that's not a great place to be. So
And I do believe people can change. I'm not saying that everyone can, and I know some things are very different degrees than other things, but I do believe in change, and I believe in people learning, and I believe in people owning their mistakes, and I believe in people growing. But that's when there's a spotlight now and you've been a jerk for a long time, like you need to also kind of show that work. And that might be bold to say, who do I owe it to you to show what I've been doing? But I think it's like to be able to admit to your mistakes, go to therapy or make a difference is important too. And again, that's not for, I'm sort of blanketing that. I think there's certain things that I would not, you can't earn back, but like in general too.
Yeah.
The times have changed, right?
Yep. And the thing is you can tell when somebody's giving you an actual apology or something they just kind of slap together, or the people that are like, absolutely not. And just like, it's the old methinks thou dost protest too much kind of deal. If you're protesting that much, there's probably some shit under the hood there. So
And not everyone has to do the beer. You know what I mean? Make your movements other ways, but I just think, why not then include that in something, or share the other ones that are going on, or share the cause too. There's always a million ways to, I was going to say skin a cat, but I feel like that's like a really weird, I don't know that there's many ways to skin a cat. I don't know. I was way off on whatever that phrase is. So don't skin cats, drink good beer, spend your money in the right places, and raise women's voices. Don't skin cats.
What about
that's too happy.
Oh yeah, no. I'm on your side. Get that was out. No, I'm just kidding. Whatever. I like this guy.
So the other thing I was going to say, as far as Greg, you're saying about being a bit more open with my struggles with stuff, I think that's also born of the fact that I'm a white male and I have a lot more space to do that. To be fair, I have a lot more space to be able to say shit like that, and that sucks. That shouldn't be the way it is. You should be able, and you should be able to say, I'm not divulging that because that's my shit, and I don't want other people being involved in that. You have every right to do that. For me doing that, I actually debated whether to do it at all, and I just thought, my thought for me, and where my thought process is guys don't talk about their health or mental health enough, and how to really just be okay with, hey, something's wrong.
Part of your healing too, right? Maybe that's the lane you chose to heal yourself a bit too, is to have a conversation about it. Because who the hell else are you going to talk to? The mirror, like.
Yeah.
She gets tired of you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. She does. We know.
But like for me, it was like, okay, well, if I can help other people be, whether I'm helping them or not, but if it's something where you can be a little more open about, I'm really struggling with this, right? Like I grew up very much, put your nose down, shut the fuck up, and go do your work. I was taught that, and it wasn't. My parents weren't really so much like just. I grew up in super rural Pennsylvania, and that was like the. Thanks, Zach. You know how to get to my heart. But I just didn't think I should, if I was experiencing something where something felt wrong or felt off, or I didn't want to tell anybody. I'm not supposed to be. I'm supposed to be the rock guy. I'm supposed to be not Dwayne Johnson, the rock, but the rock of the family. You know, try to be strong for everybody and be there. And that was dumb of me, because that probably I didn't get enough help when I needed it. So for me, that's part of a reason I said it. So
yeah.
All right. Now that I said all that, let me open a beer, because that was
all right. And
mental health is probably one thing I don't talk about. I think there's probably, everyone thinks I'm always happy. There's a lot of darkness that goes on in this home, and that's one thing I don't talk about much. But I talk to my good friends about that, right? But my diabetes, that sort of stuff, sure, have at it. I'll share.
Well, and my admiration for Doug being open is really why he's here, is because I would have never approached him if he didn't share his heartfelt blog post about how some of his failures as a young person, talking to his kids about that, and opening himself up to his kids about the dumb shit that he did when he was young. And I don't know how many parents do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all do dumb shit when we're young, some more than others. Some catch us in jail, like Doug. Some doesn't. Some things I should have been in jail. I never got caught. So yeah, that's how we got here, because I admired the fuck out of Doug after reading that. I admire the fuck out of that beer, by the way.
Oh, I love the sound. Nitro hot cocoa. Yes, please.
Oh, you ever had that one, Tiff?
No.
Ooh.
Well aware of Southern Tier, obviously.
Southern Tier, though. Yeah, I was going to say, when you dip down here, that's one you need to, especially if they're close to you, that's one you need to grab and take home if you can. Sure.
Yeah, they have right now that Blackwater series, they have the Nitro Creme Brulee, the Nitro Hot Chocolate, and Nitro S'mores is what are out right now.
So, Doug, real quick before I got to follow up for Tiffany real quick, but what's going on with that one?
It smelled just like
what? Tell me about it.
It smells just like hot cocoa. It really does, and it's super
like cold.
velvety and smooth. Like they have it cold, but yeah, but smell and it's super.
You should
velvety
put those
and
dehydrated marshmallows on top.
Like
yes,
you put like the astronaut ice cream on top.
Yeah.
So Tiffany, one thing about your personal life that you have been more open about, I believe, since I met you, or maybe I missed that part, is your struggles with super sugary beers, or what are you still like?
Went the completely opposite direction that I thought you were going to say. Like,
yeah,
okay. The easiest struggles.
Cool. But this is something. Yeah, but this is something that I didn't see. When I first met you and I started looking at your shit, I didn't see it, and then as we progressed as friends, I saw you talking about it more. I don't know if you want to speak to people about your condition and how that affects your. To me, it's interesting how it affects your beer consumption and your
definitely.
food consumption, but because you're a foodie as much as you're a beer person. I know that I don't know if that comes out to y'all, if y'all on her social media or anything, but she's a foodie person as much as a beer lady.
Yeah, pizza's the devil for diabetes, but it's my favorite. So yeah, I'm a type 1 diabetic since the age of maybe 11 or 12. I for some reason don't know my diversity like a lot of people do, but so I have had an insulin pump for probably maybe close to 10 years now. It's definitely been a lifesaver in everything, and there is something to do with drinking. So like I can drink beer. Some people will probably frown upon that, but that's fine. I love beer, so I'm going to drink beer. There's a way that I deal with it we don't really want to talk about because I don't want to give medical advice that someone else is going to follow, and suddenly
right. We are not we are not doctors, and we are not giving out medical advice.
But I don't give insulin for my beers most of the time because there's something else that goes on, and that's what can cause an issue. Overnight sleeping that can be dangerous with it dropping really low. But I have to be a little bit selective in what I drink. So it's still sort of a mystery. I would like to know. I would love to do like a sort of an article on that. But again, it's like you don't want to give medical advice and I don't know how to always figure it out. But anything with like, because lactose sugar, right? So any of those beers, anything with all this fruit puree, all this stuff added will skyrocket my sugars, make me feel like crap. I mean, maybe I could only have one mixed in with other stuff. So like flights, or I will have, it's not to say that I'm not going to drink those beers all the time, but I'm not this person that's out chasing down these smoothie beers and waiting in line for them. Cause I'm like, these are a nightmare. And I'm also I'm not traditional, but I feel like I'm going back to like beer, but you can have great adjuncts and stuff, but I'm a little bit more careful with that. So I always like to use that as an excuse if someone wants to ride my tail for maybe not being hip or drinking all the latest milkshake IPAs that are out. If this is still a thing, I don't know, but I'm like, hey man, like that stuff also drives my sugar through. And I think it's something that we don't always think of, like calorie content in beer, right? And even balancing it with a bit of exercise. People sometimes, once someone was really mad because I said I should earn my beer and go for a hike first. And I was like, I was calling them out because they weren't exercising enough. And I'm like, no, I'm not shaming. This is something I need to do to be able to balance my consumption of this alcohol too. So I'm sure there's ones out there that are a lot lighter and don't peak them. But I almost know now there's like a couple breweries I'll go to and I'm like, oh, they always hit my sugars different. But I have a way that I deal with that and it's fine. But there is, I do tend to lean towards a certain style of beer for that reason too. But I do love my stouts, but I just drink pretty basic ones instead of the ones that are all like, I guess, pastry stouts and that stuff. So they're still delicious, right? But like I can't drink a ton of them because they will really affect that. And we all want to live. I mean, I don't need to live till 90 or 100, but I'd like to live till 70 or 80. So let's like, we gotta balance it all out.
Zach makes a good point there though. It's always okay to write an article that doesn't have all the answers. Sometimes it's about the journey. So,
yeah. And I think just sharing that, like I do share that I'm diabetic on my blog and I did a bit of videos like when it was type 1 awareness month because nobody really cares about that. But We do, and it is interesting, and my selection is based on that sometimes. So I think it's just nice for people to have that conversation, and I have no problem with saying to someone like, well, I don't drink a ton of those because of that. And I think people don't, they sort of forget, oh yeah, it would have sugar, right? And I'm like, yeah, well, like even with COVID, I didn't drink beer or really eat for 2 weeks, and I think I lost like 12 pounds. That's probably mostly from not drinking beer. Like it's, you know what I mean? Like it is,
Right.
it is what it is. But yeah, that's kind of. But luckily, I have a pump that helps with that. So it is hard when I travel or when I go these weekends to visit you ninnies out there, and all we do is drink beer for 3 days. Like I go home, and it is a bit of a recovery for just my body having a lot of higher sugar and just not being able to manage. Like it's never in a dangerous zone, but it takes the toll. So then I have to come home and eat vegetables and drink water for.
Yeah. Well, this one actually it's made with lactose sugar, so this would be something that you would probably have to do. Like, here's a sample, you know what I mean? Rather than having a whole can. It's about managing it. It's like for me, it's diet because I have to be super careful with sodium and cholesterol. Things like that. I have to be real careful with that. So
and sugar too, to a level too, Doug.
Sugar, yeah, but I'm not a really big sweets person, so sugars for me aren't really a big thing that I have to worry about too much.
But beer gets sneaky with sugars, though, is what Tiffany said. Right.
Which is why now when I'm on the show, I limit myself to 2 because that's where I just try to be smart about it. It's just really about management.
I start to explore the cocktails too. Like I think then you're just drinking soda and something, and there's like all these soda drinks out now that have nothing you can get in every flavor. I'm like in heaven. Well, especially over in the US. I feel like it's taken so long for Canada to get this like sugar-free stuff. Over there, it's like a haven for it. You guys have sugar-free everything. Not in Canada. Right. So it's hard. And I was thinking that too, like even menus. I'm like, I wish there was more, not to say diabetic friendly restaurants, because we can have anything we want, but it would just a lot that people don't think about when they're marketing their stuff, when they're making their stuff. Like, you know, I don't know. It's interesting. It's something I've been thinking a lot more about anyways.
All right. We're supposed to do something, but I'm not prepared.
So, what are you doing? What are you doing?
That is kind of the way our show goes, Greg. I think, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not fucking prepared.
No, none of us are. We just kind of winging this shit out here.
Right. Well, we're gonna attempt. Doug, are you listening to anything?
Are you talking to me or Tiffany? Let's start with Tiffany.
Doug, are you listening to anything?
Oh, me? Oh, jeez.
That's why I said we're not prepared. Because Tiffany gave me something, but I completely spaced on it. So that's why I'm hoping you be.
I can tell you what.
Well, yeah, but I
asked me a question like 5 minutes between the show. He's like, "Are you listening, reading, or watching anything?" And like I said, I've been kind of out because of COVID, so I've been watching a lot of things. But I wish I read more. But yeah,
I got it right here, I think, or something. I think. Tiffany, what are you listening to, my friend?
So my latest favorite audiobook that I've probably, I guess I probably haven't listened to it in a couple months, but I've listened to it.
I got it.
At least So I've listened to it at least the full book 4, 5, 6 times probably.
Oh.
So he narrates it. So that would be my number one reason why. I also understand that I feel like my dad calls this guy a pompous ass. So my dad's like not a McConaughey fan, and I feel like I totally get that rating on him as well. But this book, he's been kind of journaling, if you'll call it, since he was a kid. He's been keeping a diary or a journal or whatever you want to call that. So this book is essentially him going through his life. And I love the way the accent and the way he talks about things, all his funny adventures. He talks from way when he was a kid and like traveled over with like a rotary over to Australia, I believe it was, and like the family he stayed with there. And it's just a riot. I think he is well spoken. I think he's just got a really neat life. Like he's definitely smelling his fingers. Yeah, basically. It's because he just took them off the leather steering wheel in his Lincoln. I realize he's very, entitled. He's also from that, but I think he realizes where he comes from, and I think he's done a lot of traveling and he goes around his Airstream with his dog forever and talks about his adventures like that. He talks about meeting his wife. He talks about his, like, Dazed and Confused was his first, like, the first movie ever in a line was all right, all right, all right. That was his first movie line ever, which is crazy because he's like, that's what he's sort of known for, right? And then talks about him struggling to get out of rom-coms and like how they're like, you're gonna ruin your career. And I just think it's a really, really great book. And it did something that we talked about earlier. So when we were going through fertility treatments, this is like what I would listen to driving in to like 40 minutes each direction 2 or 3 times a week to get too many shots to try and have a child. And it was just something that I found like so soothing and grounding to be able to listen to him and have him alongside in the stereo of me traveling in and out and just kind of listening to him. So I think there's a little bit of a emotional attachment to that for it getting me through that phase of our life too. But I think it's a great book. So you should listen to it because reading takes too long.
And he narrates it himself, right?
Yes. So it's his voice, which is fun because he's an actor too. So he's like, he's just telling these stories of his life. So he doesn't call it a biography. He explains in the introduction, he goes on and just rambles on as he does too. So I'm sure there's lots of haters out there, which is fine, but I just really enjoyed it. So yeah, that's what I listened to too many times. Yeah, when you have some gift. Yeah. That's probably Dan.
Do you have to smell your fingers while you're listening to it? Does that enhance it?
That is, depending where your fingers have been, that is totally up to you. Where mine were, I was not smelling my fingers. I'm just joking.
Okay. On that note, Doug, what's going on?
So this is I'm listening to this is one of my favorite horror authors ever, Brian Lumley. He wrote a book series called the Necroscope series. Up in the upper left is Necroscope 1. That series is like 16, 17 books long, and I've read the base of it is the first 8 books. This is the 8th in the first 8 books, and the other ones were later after he kind of run out of other things to write and just kind of revisited it. But I've read the first 8 books, I think 6 or 7 times, and I'm doing it in audiobook format this time. Basically, it's a vampire series, but his concept of how vampires works is completely and utterly unique. Really, it's old school horror in that he wrote this in like the 70s and 80s. So it's not like, the problem is when you read stuff now, everything's like, I got to grab the reader, like it's got to be snap, snap, snap. Everything's got to go super fast. And this is much more of a slow sort of burn. But this book is like, if you're reading it, it's probably 600-700 pages. Like but the characters are really excellent. And the artwork that are for all the books is just phenomenal. So yeah, if you're looking for something that's, each book is like 24 hours of listening, then this series is your kind of thing.
Cool. I need to read more. I've been trying to figure out what it is I enjoy reading. And I love like that genre. I feel like I would, but sometimes just listening is easier.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on the time of year and everything, but I do miss like, there's very few things that I've read, and I'm someone who loves to buy books and pretend to read them and then put them on a bookshelf because it looks cool. But or I read a lot of beer books, right? Like I read a lot of beer books, so they interest me. But I really would like to take the time this summer to try and find out what genre it is that I enjoy reading. So,
Amen.
We'll see. I'll try that because I feel like I'm all about vampires. So.
And I feel the opposite way. I feel I need to find more ways to listen to more books.
Yeah.
Y'all inspiring me on that one. But
walking, biking, and exercising, Greg.
Yeah, very much.
Well, I was gonna say,
or projects around the house.
Doug talked about when he used to commute to work. He doesn't anymore, but he might in the future. You never know what the future holds as far as coming out of COVID. But Doug always, and then visiting his sons and stuff, and making that long trip there, Tiffany. Doug says that he can fit in a lot of. It sounds like you fit in a lot when you're making your trip. So I think, once I can hit back on the road trips, but I don't know about y'all, but like I usually like this is where podcasts come in and elbow the audiobooks away too. Because sometimes podcasts I can, like, they're only an hour. So then like if I listen to Doug's podcast, it's 50 minutes, an hour, and then like I can go back to music. And then sometimes my attention span isn't good, but if I got into a good book, I'm sure it would be just like any book where like you can't put it down. so you can't, you don't want to stop the audio. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I'm awful at podcasts. I haven't listened to yours, Doug. I probably should, so this doesn't go towards saying you, but I find I don't know how to look for them. I find them so boring. People's voices can drive me nuts. And I really have a hard attention span being like, I don't care what this person has to say. Maybe I've tried again the wrong ones in genre.
Yeah.
There's one called Everything is Alive. And the guy narrates things like, it'll be like, oh, this is a soda can. And then it's like, hey, how are you today? A little bit gassy. I'm like, he's like narrating these inanimate objects through everything. So that one's like hilarious, but they're all short sessions too. But I have trouble with podcasts because Bernie will listen to a lot, but I need to find out again with that what I like, where I find an audiobook, like when we did our big trip up Lake Superior last year camping, like we just listened. I don't know, but I need to get podcasts because there's so many out there. I just literally
you just haven't found the ones.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, this is so boring. Or beer ones. I'm like, it's you dudes just doing about beer. Like, I'm just like, I can't do this.
We'll send you Mallory O'Mara's. We'll see if you like that one. It's a reading podcast, but they don't do any book
reviews. They
talk about like crazy shit, like do you sniff your books and shit like that? Do you
yes.
Sniff
yeah, it's oddball stuff, but it's great.
Do you sniff your books, Tiffany? Look at you. You're saying
totally.
Yes.
Totally a bookstore. The smell. That's probably why I buy them. The smell of a bookstore.
There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. Yeah. Hey, can I make a quick podcast suggestion? Because Greg, I think you started listening to it, but I don't know if you got very far. There's a podcast called My Dad Wrote a Porno. It is the funniest fucking podcast I've ever listened to in my fucking life.
I didn't get it that far. You're right.
But it's this guy. He's a British guy, and his dad, when he retired, looked at the success of 50 Shades of Grey and decided he needed to write. He's never written anything. He just decided he needed to start writing books.
I love this concept.
And he
what is it called again?
My Dad Wrote a Porno. And he's reading his dad's books, and two of his high school friends are on there and just roasting the shit out of him in the books at the same time. And it's British. So the guy's like super easily embarrassed, and it's superb. Like
I love that. I love that concept. I'm gonna write a book. Like, that's funny.
And his dad, when he writes, it sounds like he's never seen a naked woman ever. Like, I don't.
So British, right? Prudes, or not prudish, but they're so like. Oh.
But he's had kids, and you're just like you just. It's so funny.
I used to work with a British coworker when I worked at a brewery in the past, and he was a friend of mine. And then I started working there with him. And I remember one day going in, and we were just opening up, and I like was changing into my work shirt, and I had a sports bra, and I kind of turned away from him, but I took off my shirt and put it on because that's what I do. And I remember turning back around, and he was just like freaking out that I had like shown skin. Like, it was just the funniest thing. And I'm like, it's just British. They're very, I don't think conservative is the right word, but as far as like skin goes, it was just funny. So I always like to embarrass him now. I should streak more in front of them.
It's weird. It's weird because they're prudish about something, they're complete perverts about other things. And it's
totally.
It's a weird mix. I don't know how they pull it up.
That's so true. That's so true.
Explain this, Tiffany. How you don't want to hear about your beer, but you want to hear what a soda can says.
Yeah. Hey man, I'll listen to people that talk about beer. Don't you get going on me. But everything is live. They'd have a lamppost, and the lamppost is like, oh, sometimes people dance around me. Like, it's just such a funny podcast. It's creativity. So I did want to take that podcast idea and do it. I still have notes on this. Do it about beer style. So I'd be like talking to a stout one day. So how are you feeling? Oh, a little bit like whatever. And then they're just describing, like, you're basically going through, someone's going to take, you can take this if you want. I'm too lazy to do it, but I do have notes on this and was hoping to. Right in a lager and milkshake IPA. Like, oh, I was hoping more boys would come to my yard and like interviewing that specific style of beer. And then it goes on. I love the creativity behind it. And just, I think it's really funny. And the comedy, obviously, but
and that's a good way to showcase the style too.
Yeah, totally.
Sure.
Without just saying, oh, well, it's a little roasty toasty and dry finish and a balanced beer.
So I want to show you this. I want to show you this, y'all.
What?
Bear and a pig? Is that a pig?
That's a pig. And
I don't know that I'd mess around with a pig either.
Look, look, these pigs take care of this bear. Look at him. This one pig is not having it. This bear's like, I'm out of here. Look at it.
Swearing off. The body language, swearing off to an animal.
Wow.
Cool.
Oh, Daniel says subscribe to which one?
Everything is alive, probably. Daniel's got my back.
Oh, yeah. Daniel's web podcast is pretty fun too.
Oh, I should also see, like, these are the ones I do enjoy. I miss Daniel. I haven't seen it. Well,
yeah, no one's seen him.
He didn't promote to Madison, but he was trying to, right? I can't remember. But
Right. Yeah, I don't think he's been to. He didn't make the last Beer Bloggers, and
no, I hadn't. It was just too far. Oh, I couldn't. I don't think I could either, technically.
Yeah, I didn't.
There's a lot going on.
Doug flat out didn't want to, but that's another story.
Yeah, that's fine.
But
Doug didn't like the location. Well, no, I don't know if anybody did.
Well, it was in Texas, and I refused to spend money in that state. So.
But Daniel's podcast, I always forget the name of it, but it's fun because they and Daniel put in the comments. That's great. But what they do is they try to convince each other to watch shows, and so this leads me to a question for you. There's all these different shows. I don't know what y'all got up there, but we got what, Doug, 17 different streaming channels now that have like all these different wonderful shows. We have HBO Max, and it just goes on. Netflix, Disney Plus. I mean, and all of them have their own series that are just, top notch, good shit. And sometimes it's hard to know, like, you start watching a stream, and how many shows, Tiffany? Like, you start watching a show, maybe it's a show that has multiple, so, like, how many, like, do you give it 20 minutes? Do you give it 2 shows? And that's what Daniel's podcast is, that they try to convince each other to watch these different shows.
I think I've learned that you got to give it a couple shows, because I know some great shows, but it's taken me a bit, or even to watch it a second time all through, and you like it better.
Watch Okay Please.
Okay.
And like,
that's the name of the podcast.
Yeah, that's the name of the podcast, Tiffany. And I can send it to you too. And well, you got it. You got your notes.
I got notes.
Great. Cool.
My dad wrote a porno, and Watch Okay Please are my notes.
Two vastly different podcasts.
Right. And then in our messenger thread, I sent you the Mallory O'Mara one. Reading
cool.
Glasses. But so how do you and Bernie do this? And also you have the dynamic of you and your husband. So does he watch his own shows? Do you all watch them together? Do you all like split up, and then Bernie gets all pissed off that you watch shows and then you do the other thing? How does that all work? Like, I know Doug has shows that he watches, and then he watches some with Jill, and then I know that Joe watches some without him. So how does that all work?
Without me.
We are summer's a lot different than every other season of the year, but we laugh because I also say, like, every night, I think it's twice a week, I say, is this ruining our marriage? Because let me know if spending the nights apart. So I go into my bedroom, and I've got my Netflix, I have a stick. So Netflix, Crave, Prime, Disney I got yesterday because I'm so behind on Mandalorian. On there, and then Bernie stays out and watches either sports or Below Deck. He watches so often. I've gone through Shameless 3 times. He's never even seen the show. I've watched the series probably 3 times. So we're very different. Like, but we also have our shows, like we'll watch our like Survivor, Amazing Race, like Dexter we watch together. So we still have like the things that we're like, oh, this is on. But I feel like nowadays when you get series out, you gotta dip your toes in a few to see if you like it. Then you're already ahead of the person for 2 because you've binged it. Do you bring them in? Like, it's kind of, so we have like some things like The Office we'll watch together, Superstore we watch together. So we do have some stuff, but I feel like we're very different viewership, very just different people on that. And I'm like, I'm going in, like, I'll smoke one, go in and watch my shows for the night. But watching 2, sometimes I don't know what to pick. So I watch the same thing over and over because it just eases like stress relief, right? So depending where you are for what it is. But I was hoping Casey, I don't know, is Casey still a part of the show? I feel like I never get him on here. So he did all that thing with the was it the Adam like with Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah, the Adam Project.
Yes.
Did you guys watch that?
Not
I
yet.
have not
Okay.
because I haven't been in a headspace as a dad to watch that just yet. So
So we were so bored, we turned it off. Like Bernie, but we're like the only people that turned it off. Like I was like, I looked over and I'm like, if we turn this off, will you watch something else? And Bernie's like, yes. And I'm like, sorry. I'm like, this is boring, but I'm also not a Ryan Reynolds. I don't like his super. I was not a Deadpool fan.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not. I'm like, what's this super time? Like, I don't mind sci-fi, but I couldn't do it. But I will try it again because we're like the only people. I'm not insulting Casey. I'm not insulting Ryan Reynolds. So I'm just like, but I laugh, right? Because we're like, everyone's talking about it. Then we watch it and we're trying to watch it together. And I'm like, he's snoring over there.
How long did you make it? 20 minutes? Half an hour?
No. I want to say like, I don't know how, like, let's say it's a 2-hour movie. We probably made it over an hour.
Oh, that's a good.
And I think something was just going to happen with his dad, where I think is where people were crying and all the tears and all the good stuff happened. I think I cut out too soon. Like, I'll watch it again. I was like, dude, I could be in bed right now watching Dexter for the millionth time. I don't know.
Yeah. Whatever. We have an amazing race fan here.
Yeah. So dope. It's such a great show. Such a great show.
It is really great show. Yeah, so I range. I don't know about Doug. You're next, Doug, but I range, Tiffany. Sometimes, like for example, that the show on Amazon Prime called Reacher. The first time I turned it on, it was 20. It wasn't even 20 minutes. It was like 10 minutes, and I'm like, "What the fuck is this shit?" And I just turned it off. So then, but I always have it in my mind that like 10 minutes, dude. 10 minutes. You didn't give it enough.
No,
so then
I almost put 3 shows. I feel like nowadays.
So then I went back and watched Reacher, and I was hooked. Like for some reason, after that 10 minutes, I was like, boom, and then I ended up watching that show in 3 days, like 8 episodes. Right, but like the first 10 minutes, that first initial thing was just like, what the hell is this shit? So then Doug told me about Expanse.
Is that like the Jack Reacher? Sorry, that's the same as the novel. It's like Jack Reacher, right?
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
The start of it? Okay.
And he's a big burly dude, and it gets violent. It's great. I love it. Now, Doug told me about Expanse. Expanse is a sci-fi one, show. and that one I gave a couple shows, and I'm like, this is good, but I just can't do it now. So I'm gonna have to go back to I'm gonna have to go back to that. But I gave that like 3 shows, and I still wasn't like enough to like binge it. So like it's just really tough sometimes with these good shows. Now, Doug told me about the Mayor of Easttown, and I could not turn that off. In fact, I watched that instead of the Super Bowl, and I'm a huge NFL fan. I literally watched episodes 6 and 7, Doug, during the Super Bowl. During the Super Bowl, I didn't care. Actually, I stopped for the halftime show.
Halftime show?
No, I stopped for the halftime show and watched it with my family, and it was great, and I'm glad I did. But then, as soon as that shit was over, I was back watching Mayor of Easttown, and then so that was funny because so then you met Michelle, Tiffany. I watched that alone, and then when I was the second I got done that, I was like, you have to watch this, and I sent her a message, and I never ever told her that she has to watch. Michelle's not the person that you tell that you have to do anything. If you approach her in that manner, she will make sure she never does it.
Like wife, like husband.
Right. Like she will go out of her way not to do it. If you tell her that you have to do it. Right. No. But Mayor of Easttown was one like, you have to. And then she immediately watched it. She's like, that was amazing. It was great. Thanks for telling me. Right. But I didn't tell her, Doug, that she had to watch. What is that mess that we watched? What is that? Where you don't see the
Love
person.
Is Blind. Love Is Blind.
Right. I told her. So I told her that she should watch. I told her she should watch that one. So Doug, she ended up watching the Japan one and saying that it was fucking amazing.
Yeah, Japan, it's all weird. It's all different. They do things completely different than the American version. And then there's also one in Brazil. And the Brazil one is like wild because
but I don't think she's ever seen the American one yet. She's watched the overseas ones. Now, Tiffany, I don't know if you know about that one. That's on Netflix. Love Is Blind.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
That craziness. Yeah, it's great. Well, the craziness
I have a chat group with like Dan, his wife, and a couple other girls that live in their town, and we do The Bachelor, but we were also talking about Love Is Blind. So we have a fun like gab session that goes on.
Love Is Blind. The only reason it's crazy is because y'all trying to get married after that. It's not crazy to try to meet somebody without seeing them. It's crazy to try to get married to them in a month. That's all I got. That's why I call it crazy.
Yeah.
I need to explain that.
Yeah.
I think it's great idea to try to not see that person. I mean, obviously there
Yeah,
needs
but
to
then
be
it defeats the
physical
whole
chemistry
purpose
there.
because clearly looks do matter even when they meet at the end. And I'm not saying it's all about looks. It certainly
Well,
is not. But
Love
like
is sometimes blind.
they're just but they're sort of disproving it. Like I don't know.
A lot.
Whatever.
Yeah,
But it's great.
no,
I'll watch
correct.
it. I'll watch it.
Correct. There's a level of that for sure. But I think that's via person though. Like some people, it's more like it's a scale. It's not on or off. It's not like a light switch, in my opinion. It's a scale. Like there has to be physical attraction. Clearly,
Yeah.
I think. But at the same time, there has to be a mental, connection because you're not in bed all day. I mean, even though that's nice.
I mean, you might start off that way, but you don't end up that way.
Totally. It always starts out that way.
Right. So you got to be compatible on a level that, y'all enjoy things together. And so, anyway, we talked too much about that fucking show.
I have a point real quick.
Yeah, go, buddy.
I'm with you, Tiffany. Is like, so Jill and I do have different things that we watch.
Yeah,
we'll watch some things together. But the problem is, I am not a binger. I am too fidgety. So I'm watching something. I watch maybe 2 episodes of something. If you get me 2 episodes in on something, that's a lot for me to sit still.
Jealous. I wish I was that way.
And
or summer,
Jill,
like I say, summer. I barely watch anything that I'm like November to April. I'm like,
yeah. But she'll go, this series is good. I'm gonna rip through it, and she does it, and I kind of admire that because I don't have the wherewithal to do that. The only show that has ever really done that to me where I can watch more than like 2 episodes, there's only been a handful of them. One of them was The Expanse. And that's because I am a sci-fi fan. But I will tell you, Greg, and I told you the first season, the first like 5-6 episodes are a lot of setup and it's a little clunky. It's the first part of the series. This is based on a series of books each book is this freaking thick. It's, it's like 3 or 4 inches thick. Each book is like that. And like, so the series is set on it. So it's a huge universe and they're building it. So it's a little clunky at first. And once you start getting into all the background shit that's going on, and that's where it pulls me in. It's like space Game of Thrones. Like that's where it gets to. And that kind of shit, that's like candy for me. I can't resist it.
I think some of it too is like I need to watch. I forgot about The Expanse. So Bernie worked on set for The Expanse and did
cool.
some of the drone stuff, not all of it, and then same with Handmaid's Tale. He has some shots in Handmaid's Tale. So sometimes it's like I don't want to say he's also ruined movies, but he'll be like, "Oh, we're doing this," and then it's like his shot, and you kind of like it takes a lackluster. I feel like he's like, "Oh, that's a green screen," or "That's the," and I'm like, "Well, why are you ruining the magic of television?" Like we laugh. Right? You just want to know as you get older, it changes, but I find sometimes it's hard to. But I do, and he doesn't always remember what he shot too, right? But I'm like, oh, it's important to kind of see and be like, I get there's a lot of people involved, but I was like, you kind of were a part of that, which is cool. But I did like the concept. I remember starting to watch that and I completely forgot about it. So I would like to see The Expanse again.
So
Umbrella Academy too, I think fell flat, but I need to get back into that maybe too. Anyways.
Yeah, I liked the first season. I think I got an episode into the second season. I really wasn't into it, but they're coming out with a third one where like the Sparrow Academy is involved, and I have no clue what that is. So
I need to watch this. I'll give that a chance because I like that whole concept of silliness too. But
Tiffany,
so true.
Fucking
or like the hat. There's a hat. Sorry, now that we're on that again, there's a hat that like rides the bus, and he's in Brooklyn, so he's got like a total Brooklyn accent, and he's like, "Oh, like my owner got drunk and left me on the bus last night, and now like the hat's riding the bus." Like it's just such a funny podcast. See, you come up with those lines, Zach.
Who is this, Doug?
That's my brother. That's my brother-in-law, Adam.
What's up, Adam? Oh yeah. So
what games? I don't know. We gotta
me.
get off of this. Who's happening?
Yeah, we're gonna wrap soon here for sure because we usually do wrap early when Tiff's on, not because she's not a fantastic guest, because she's always on March Madness and y'all want to go watch the games, and I don't blame you. Let's see here real quick. Let's go over some of these. People talking about Reacher And then he was the Aquaman dude too. Apparently, I didn't
On
see
the
that.
CW, yeah.
Yeah, and then he was Hawk on the Titans. I haven't seen the Titans. I was told about that one. Haven't seen it.
DC can or Marvel. Oh no, maybe Marvel. Sorry, maybe I am more DC. Anyways, I'm not as much of a comic book movie as I wish I was. Like, I love comic books, but I feel like a lot of these movies I just could care less about.
We're comic book heavy on this because I started. My kids got me into doing superhero movies, and we're up to the latest Spider-Man. I saw Spider-Verse last week. That was really good, Doug.
I do like I like Batman. I'm a Batman.
But my kids are
Michigan State 32, Davidson 31. Let's go, Michigan State. Let's make that pick.
Doug doesn't seem thrilled about that one.
Oh, I think Tom Izzo is a bit full of himself, but
I'm just a Magic Johnson. It's all nostalgia and that pick too.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't even, which is like, this is
that makes sense. That makes sense.
Moon Knight looks.
Moon Knight.
What is Moon Knight?
Moon Knight is another part of the Marvel universe that they're releasing. That is, again, I'm not a comic book fanatic, so like some of these characters, I had no fucking clue. I didn't know what Black Panther was before that came out, and I was like, this is fantastic.
Right. Right. So we're getting back to. I got one more video to show y'all. We're getting back to. No, Tiffany's like, no, Tiffany. We're getting back to traveling. Yeah, I think. Yeah, this might be one you want to close your eyes on. I don't know. Has anybody experienced anything like this?
Snakes. Oh, dude. I'll be back.
Doug?
No, I've never experienced that. I've been on turbulent flights. I don't know what the hell that was.
the fucking food cart hit the top of the thing.
Yeah, I know.
Tiffany. No. I love flying. I went to school to be an aerospace engineer. I went to college right next to an airport. We used to watch airplanes come in and out. Daytona Beach Airport, which is right next to Daytona Beach Speedway, which is right next to Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. I went there. I love flying. I love space. In fact, I want to get off of this to watch the SpaceX launch tonight at 10. In about an hour, I'll be watching the SpaceX launch. I love it. I love aviation, Doug. But turbulence on a plane that's just where I cut off the love.
That's fair.
That's fair because it's unsettling.
It's more than unsettling. That lady was dripping. Did you see her? Tiffany, you didn't see her. Tiffany, why did you go away, Tiffany? What do you have a fear of flying? What do you have about flying?
Every time I fly, I get worse about it, but I still just get on the plane and go. I just you don't need to see that because then that's all you think about. I'm the type of person that's all I'll think about if I'm on the plane. I get weird like
it's
that.
What turbulence or like the plane
that
crashing
video or something. Like if I watch it, then I'll just be like, oh fuck, this is all I'm gonna think about.
Right.
I used to do volunteer air search and rescue out in BC for a bit. I used to get to fly around in a Cessna and pretend.
So it's not okay. So you have a weird relationship with.
I've been on little planes. I've been on planes. We took a plane like in the Philippines. We were on these small propeller planes. I took a nap the whole way to get into like the plane of jars. Everyone else was freaking on the plane. I'm like I can also sleep on a plane like it's nobody's business. I just feel like, my support thought. I just feel like every time I go, I just feel like it gets a little bit. I get a bit more aware and a bit less enjoyable.
Right.
But it's how you get to the destination, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I can fly.
No, it's funny. I never saw anybody say, I'm out of here. Y'all can watch this. I'm out. that was our first
I'd be the person that would go and watch that before I fly and then be like, I can get over it. But I'm like, what am I doing to myself?
Right. I'll probably remember the next time I fly.
Yeah, that or like death. I don't know. The same sort of thing I get.
I don't know when I'm going to fly anytime soon, though. But yeah, the poor peacock. Did you see that last week? I don't know if you saw that, Tiffany.
I watched it. I watched it yesterday.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. That's funny. So yeah, Doug. We're gonna let Tiffany go here. It is March Madness. So
Yeah, I gotta get down and watch that state game. Woo!
Yeah,
Fuck it, Doug.
I think it's at half because I have it on my TV here, and I'm seeing nothing but commercials. Or maybe I'm on CBS now. I know March Madness is on what 600 stations. Now.
Yeah, it's on like True and TBS and TNT and all that. Yeah, it's on a lot of it.
Right. I got the CBS game. I don't know which one that is, but Tiffany, is there anything besides support Peacocks that we didn't talk about today that you wanted to talk about? Get out there. Anything you want to plug?
No, I have a
you're gonna make.
Or what's that?
Any appearances you want to make? We didn't talk about Halloween, but it seems like you're still exhausted from the last one, and that was like 6 months ago. So I figured we leave that one on the table for next time. But if you want to talk about it, now is the time.
No, I just feel like the way the light is, I have a really small nose, and I feel like this like look at this angle. Like I have a tiniest nose. I think it's the way the light's appearing. So if anyone wonders if I got a nose job since my last time, I haven't. That's what it looks like. But look at this. I think it's the highlight. I look like a peacock.
You got a beak there now.
Yeah. Right in there. See, look at how little it is.
Yeah, the light. Look at light.
That's all.
Lighting is everything. Yes.
Look like
I love
Doug.
it.
I look like Doug.
I gave Tiffany the last word and she talked about her nose.
Yeah. No, last one was just thanks again. Yeah. Thanks again for having me on. Nice to see you guys as always. You know, the general stuff. And just a reminder to everyone to just don't be a dick. Be better. Every day you can be a little bit better. Stand up for those that have less voices when you can. Don't feel the pressure that you have to consistently be doing that. You know when it's right and make it happen. So just be a better person.
Yeah.
Cheers to that. And then Doug wants you to contact him if you're going to be dipping down into his state. Mm-hmm. Right, Doug?
Because Buffalo is I think 2.5, 3 hours away from me.
That's right. Because I think we went to the Sabres, but that was so last minute too. But
yeah.
But yeah, that sounds good because we could, if you come up when we're with Dan or whatever, that'd be fun.
All right, cool.
I could be wrong, but that goes for any time. But I could be wrong, right, Doug?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, soon enough. We'll do a whole upstate New York with that trailer too. Eventually, when we can, probably next summer, we can get a good cross the U.S. trip going. So.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
That would be awesome. Now, I'm not much of a camper, but I will glamp.
Yeah, so we'll use your driveway.
Yeah, or if there's a cabin nearby or something that we can meet and y'all can camp and I can cabin. Yeah. I would love that shit. I'm not sleeping in no fucking tent though. I'm way past that.
Well, we bought a trailer.
I'm way right. Well, you have your damn trailer. I won't, but maybe a little RV or something.
Well, if ours is tiny, it's only 12 feet. Anyways.
Oh, okay. As long as it doesn't have turbulence like that damn airplane.
Air conditioner.
Woo! Tiffany, thank you. We'll talk to you soon.
Tiffany.
Sounds good. Cheers, guys.
Cheers. What's up, Doug?
Man, Tiffany always brings it. That's fun. She's fun.
Yes, she's fun, and she always perks me up. I always have a good time with Tiffany, and she always makes me smile, and that's what really matters. You got to surround yourself with people who make you smile. Yep. Kind of like Zach.
Zach, man. He's a Lego maniac.
It's an hour and a half of you zipper merge to
zipper merge. What's a zipper merge?
What's
you just merging.
Merge?
That was me. I was like, oh, you just mean merging? Okay, great.
Right. So, without further ado, Doug, we have this. Another thing we're not prepared for, but do you remember what our friend Jackie Summers is up to?
Yeah, Mr. Jackie Summers was featured in Food and Wine magazine, which is a big fucking deal. That's kind of the, that's kind of the Rolls Royce of magazines about food and beverage. So he was featured in there as being one of the, I can't remember the actual phrasing they used, but it was something along the lines of like creator of the year or something to that for bringing Sorrell into the mix. So, and all the setbacks, and kind of did a big article on his challenges getting to that realm. So, Mr. Jackie Summers, cheers to you, sir. You deserve it.
Well deserved. And I need to get back to my I still have some Sorrel.
So do I.
Good. Yeah, and I need to be creative about it because again, it is versatile. So even when I want to waste some calories and some sugar on a lemonade, I need to work that in. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
'Cause that's kind of almost how I think about it at this moment of my life. That's kind of where I'm at. But yeah, we're still. You first.
Are you sure? Do you have another thing you want to throw in?
No, I'm out of them.
Okay, so yeah, it's all right. So first is the Hallard's Octopus Queen alcoholic ginger beer. I bought it purely for the label because it's one of the prettier can art labels I've seen in a long time. Really thought that was excellent. This is really good. It's called Extra Spicy Ginger Beer. I didn't think it was. I was expecting something to be like ginger that I could barely like swallow, but not like that. It's drinkable, refreshing, pretty good. So definitely recommend it. It's the first time I've ever seen it. They're out of Vermont, and it's only like 5.5% alcohol, so crushable. And then the Nitro Hot Cocoa is the one that, I mean, I'm always going to gravitate towards their Blackwater series. The Nitros are part of it. This was very good. Smooth, creamy, chocolatey, velvety, 9.6%. So, yeah, very good. How about you?
It was a Venture Brewing kind of night. I still have one for you to send, by the way. I don't know if you remember, you ordered one. Ordered it. It's a barrel age, so I figure I'm not, getting it to you will be fine. I don't have to rush. It's not like some IPA, which you don't want anyway. So like,
not usually.
Right. So I had these two. I had a peach and a ginger, which was the winner of tonight.
Still icy.
Still some in there. I don't know if you saw during halfway through. I was still trying to milk some out of it, and then this nice saison. Nice barrel age going on. It's a barrel fermented mixed culture saison. And I still got some of that left, warmed up, and some of that barrel. The barrel aging is not it's not one that you could taste in an alcoholic way. It's more of like a puckery saison. Okay. So pretty good. And we're still on track here for over at Venture Brewing for a charity beer that's going to come out around Father's Day. So I'll keep everybody alerted about that. But yeah, Simon is also real quick. I don't know if y'all, for those who don't watch the Badger Beer Hour, Milwaukee's getting its second Black-owned brewery soon.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so that's cool. So Simon will not be the only one in the state as a Black-owned brewer. Black. Well, he's not owned by Black people. He's Black. I had to make sure because we have Zach lurking and ready to jump on silly comments. Right. But he really jumps on the silly ones that we love to have around here. So yeah, so that was pretty good. I'm with you, man. I've been drinking mostly 2 per week, 3 on a special week. But yeah, that's where we're at right now. Let's see, Doug. Next week we got. Do you know who we got next week, Doug? I do. Do you?
I do not, because I am not prepared.
Yeah, we're never prepared. We have
Carla. Yeah.
Yes, but before that, y'all, we're gonna talk NA beers next week.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Twitter Spaces, March 24th at 9 p.m. Eastern. Jump over on Twitter and you'll see it pop up if you follow Beer Babe, Afro Beer Chick, and or me. We are going to have Mr. Matt Strain and the Athletic, our home-based athletic beer ambassador.
Yep.
Knows more about NA beers than I think I know about regular beers. He's fantastic at it, and so you can check us there. Afro Beer Chick, of course, is very opinionated, and she's very opinionated about NA beers. I've heard on the side, so you're going to want to hear that
Yeah, and I know Carla was talking about her dad being excited for the new Guinness NA because he can finally drink his favorite beer again because he couldn't because of health concerns. So I think that's going to be really healthy, fun, and interesting chat.
Yep. And the beer chat happens every Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern. If you missed last week, you can hit up my my Twitter timeline, and you can hear the recording. About an hour and a half we spent last week talking about beer and getting back to the breweries. And yeah, so check that out. And if for some reason you miss us on Thursday, again, you can hit that up for like I think 30 days they keep it there. So it's on my timeline. Just like you can hit up this wonderful stream if you miss it on Fridays. We haven't seen JHG here in a couple of weeks, but I'm sure he's been watching, whether a recap or not. So Doug, good luck on your bracket. We'll talk to you next week. Maybe you'll have half of it left.
Maybe if I'm lucky. Cheers, everybody.
Yeah, black and tan time. Right. And yep, so we'll see y'all next week with Carla. I'll be talking to her on Thursday and Friday next week. So fun. And I gotta find this thing here that we normally do.